Look at that. Isn't that cool? Too bad it's only a small scale. Yeah, this is the tiny little version I've made just to give me an idea of how I want it scaled. Now this is 8 foot tall. The guys inside are 6 foot tall. Each of the panels, the individual panels, are 2 foot wide, and it's about 5 foot deep. So yeah, and from here to here is about 10 foot. I was toying with the idea of doing a slightly smaller one, and that looks like this, which is only 6 panels. The panels are the same size, 8 foot by 2 foot. It'd be about 4 foot deep and only about 8 foot wide. This would be essentially the same as the Walking Dead Don't Open Dead Inside doors I made, but I think the bigger one that allows room for 3 people will be better. Whether or not it's doable, because I'm worried about how the ceiling's going to attach, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. This is plan A. If it doesn't work, plan B will definitely work because it's a lot smaller. I'll show you what I've got to make this with. So I have bought a crap ton more of these, 25 in fact, and at just under £4 a piece. That was quite expensive, as was this stuff. This ply, I've got 4 sheets, and I got the guy at B&Q to cut them in half for me, so I've got my 2 foot by 8 foot sections. All I need to do really today, and this is what I want to get done today, is I want to attach these to these. So I'm going to have to cut pieces of this to be the short end, which would be just under 2 foot, because these are already the same length. So they're going to go on the outsides. I'm going to cut pieces to go on the inside. I'm going to screw them to it, and that'll be today's job done. And that shouldn't be too difficult, but we'll see. Oh, but before we get started on the new thing, I've finished, well, done some more of the old thing. Look at the freaking laser! Look at that. And it lights up. Yeah, boy! That's pretty cool, right? Now these, where these aren't quite straight, you can just wiggle these about a bit to get them good, but they, every time I put it in the van or whatever, they get a bit higgledy-piggledy. So that'd be a case of jiggle them about a bit when it's set up again. So yeah, that's cool. That'll just go on the stand, obviously. Now the wire, I'm going to extend with some of this stuff, and then the wire is going to be hidden in, I don't know where I bloody put it. Remember that black conduit stuff I just randomly taped onto it to see what it looked like? It'll be hidden in that sort of stuff, that flexible conduit. And that'll be held on with some little clips I'm probably going to make out of some of this pipe up here. I'm sure I've got like, I don't know, some 1-inch diameter pipe that I'll just slip down the middle, screw into the thing, and then the conduit just clip on and come off, because obviously the wire will be attached to this permanently, and the clips will be attached to the leg thing, the stand thing outside, so they need to be able to come off, and that'll be, or no, that's a lie. The wire will be attached to the stand permanently, and then it'll have a business end that I just poke into the hole at the back there, Suchusa, and then yeah, so I don't need to make it removable. So that I'll just get some screw-in little clip things to attach the hose permanently with the wire in to the stand. But that's enough about the laser thing. The next you're probably going to see of that is at Capcom when it's all freaking done. There's nothing really left to do now other than, like I said, attach the wire to the stand, which is pretty simple stuff. So on to the Star Trek thing. Well, you know, I said I was going to get started with a Star Trek thing. I lied. All right, I've screwed the gold onto the top side of the laser table, and it looks pretty cool. I only did that really so there's one less thing to get in my bloody way. Now I'm going to move all of this over there, clear some space, so I can actually get on with the Star Trek thing. Now you're probably wondering, why does this idiot keep calling it the Star Trek thing and not the transporter or the transporter room or whatever it's called? And that's because I've got a bit of a confession to make. I've never seen Star Trek. Not once. No, actually that's a lie. I saw one episode once. It was back in the day. I used to watch wrestling. I mean, I still watch wrestling, hence the t-shirt. And there's an episode that was meant to have The Rock in it, and it was The Rock, and he had a fight with Seven of Nine and did a rock bottom to her and beat her up and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. But that's the only episode I ever watched. I've not seen any of Star Trek other than that one. Not even seen any of the films or anything. So not a Trekkie in the slightest. Now I'm hoping the version I'm making, which looks something like this, is the one from the 60s, because the Comic-Con I'm taking this to, it's got a bit of a 60s theme, hence the James Bond laser table and the Austin Powers chair. But no doubt some hardcore Trekkie's going to put in the comments that I'm doing it wrong or something. If that is the case, tell me I'm doing it wrong sooner rather than later, so I don't get to a stage where it's too late to fix any of these things. But yeah, not a Trekkie in the slightest. Done a bit of research on the transporter. Hopefully I'm going to do it justice. Apologies if I don't. Right, all that is now neatly put away, and I've actually got more room in here than I thought I had after storing all that, although I haven't got the Star Trek thing there made and stored away yet. Anyway, these are the templates for the back of the chair. Just got to put them somewhere. Now, how's my plan of putting the wood on this to hold them flat, made them not be all curly? Let's see. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Right, I've got my wood ready to go. Oi, oi. One thing to bear in mind when I'm going to screw these to this is I'm going to want whichever the nicest side is to be the front facing side. No, that's still smooth. It's going to be painted, but if there's any dings and scratches and things in it, I'd have to fill those before I painted them, and I'd rather, if it's only scratched or whatever on one side, now these look pretty decent, but the scratch side's on the back, but this one looks okay. That's there's a bit knobbly there, whatever that is, and there's a bit of a ding here. So this is now the back side. So I need to make sure I remember that. So if I put a big F here for the front, then I'll know. And I'm going to put a big B on the other side for back, because I just know, focus, I just know that I would I'd screw it together and wouldn't even realise I'd done it wrong until it came time to painting it. So I'll keep this pencil handy. When I say handy, I mean in my pocket, and I'll forget about where it is in about 10 minutes time. I'll be hunting for my pencil for like half an hour. But anyway, I need to cut these now to be this gap, and this is going to be whatever this measurement is minus 2 of those. So I'm going to get my ruler. Fucking hell. Well, these are laid out here, so I've got to measure the gap here. But fucking good one. Can't believe I've done this. Well, I haven't done this, but I can't believe I didn't check this. It would appear that the sheets of wood and these sheets of timber are not the same length. 2 400 and these are 2 440, I believe. So that'd be like 4 centimeters or whatever it is too long. Why is it 3 centimeters too long? I don't bloody know. Either way, I was hoping I wouldn't have to do any sawing, but it turns out I'm gonna, which is a bit annoying. So I didn't want to get all dusty. But I'll just chop the ends off of those. Make sure I'll mark the ends of which is the chopped end, and that can be the top, or the top, because the bottom wants to sit flush on the floor. So I'm going to have to do that as well. It might be easier actually to attach the stud work first, and then I can jigsaw it, and the jigsaw will run along the beam, and that might work better. So I might try that on the first one. Oh, I've done it. I've chopped 2 thingies, and they now make up those ends. And I've still got that bit overhanging. I don't know whether or not having that will give some sort of advantage when putting it together. Like maybe if that's the top, when I come to put the roof on, that could be a way I can attach it. I don't know. I'm not going to cut those ends off yet. I'm going to make all 8 of these and have a little think, because maybe I'm definitely not going to cut that off. I'm gonna wait till I've made these. I'm going to hinge them together, make the floor, attach them to the floor, and see whether or not that is going to be a problem. Because I don't want to chop it off and then get to a stage and go, if only it had a bit of wood overhanging, because that'd be annoying. So the extra bit stays. Maybe it's like a happy accident waiting to happen. So I'm going to continue chopping these at 47 3/4 centimeters until I've got 16 of these, and then I'm going to go on a massive screw-a-thon and screw all these together. Now I don't know whether I want to screw these to these and then screw these, essentially these frames to the wood, or whether I want to screw these to the wood first and then screw these together. Reason being, these, I went to Wickes to buy these, and I've got 25 of these, and I'm probably had to look through at least 70 of them. I'm not even exaggerating, to get the 25 straight or straighter ones. Some of them were bowed to hell. You could make a freaking boomerang out of them just by using them as they are, I swear to God. So they might still be slightly bowed, and where I'm using the entire length, there's a tiny bit of a bend in it, might compromise how straight the whole thing's going to be when it's all together, whereas these are dead straight. So it might be an idea to screw it in one end here, and then make sure it's straight about a quarter of the way up, and screw it down, and then pull it and bend it until it's straight and screw it down, so I know that these edges here are perfectly straight, and then put these on and screw through into them. That might be the best way. It'd be a bit of a faff, but I think that would be the best way to do it, so that way I know that all my panels are exactly straight. And that's now 16 of those cut. I can now get started screwing those to the sheets. Now I've screwed together one of these frame things, and it's nice and straight at this end, but I don't know if it's my wonky cuts, my wonky drilling, or wonky screwing, or whatever, but as you come down this end, it's not straight at all. So this end looks like it's bowing in a bit, which is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to go with what I said I was going to do a second ago, and that is screw these to these sheets that I know are straight, and then do this. I feel I'm getting somewhere. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm making like a C shape with the beams, leaving one long side off. I'm then screwing the back edge and this edge that's flush with this on, and then I'm attaching it at one end of one screw so it'll have a bit of play, and one here, clamping it in the middle using something like this so I know it's flat, and then working my way down to the other end. Now if I pull this on here tight, you can see it's hanging over a bit, so it's not sitting flat, but there's enough flex in these beams to be able to push that in, clamp it with these bad boys, and then screw it through, and then I'll attach the screws that hold this together. Once I've done one of these and I've got a little system in place, I'll be able to then replicate that for the other 7. Oh my freaking goodness, this should be easy, shouldn't it? It should be, I've got lengths of this, I've got lengths of this, I screw them together, but I've got a problem. This one is 241, whereas this one is almost 242. Now, when I was at Wickes earlier, I had to open a second pack of these, so it would appear this batch is slightly different. So what I'm going to have to do now is measure them all and make sure they're all 241. Any that pop out at 242 or whatever, I'm going to have to trim a bit off, which is a bit of a freaking faff. But that explains why, even though I've screwed this to the straight bit of wood, but there's still a deviation here. So I'll trim a bit off of here, and then it should be happy days. Although trimming a bit off of here now means that these holes are going to be useless. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to screw it with these holes. I'm going to have to make a new hole somewhere, but either way it's a problem that shouldn't exist, all because the quality control at Wickes is apparently really crap. Just like the screws that come out of this box I've got over here, 20 quid for a box of screws, and this is how straight they are. Look. Not all of them, but I found 2 and I've grabbed 8, so well, I've grabbed 10. Two of them are wonky, 8 are okay. It's freaking stupid. Okay, right, I've done some measuring, and of the wood I've got 8 that are 241 centimeters. I've got 8 that are 241.5 centimeters. So these ones I'm going to trim 0.5 centimeters off the end, and I've got 4 that are less than 241. They're like 240 and a bit. They're not even 240 and a half. Which is annoying. Why are they not all the same size? It's so freaking stupid, which probably explains why it's so freaking hard to put together my Iron Man thing, because I just assumed they were the right size and screwed them together, and it's a little bit of a faff because some of them are a bit wonky, but now I know I can fix that if I want to. But yeah, I've got to trim the ends off of 6 of those. I've already got this one made. I've got 8 good ones. I need 14 altogether. Yeah, so 6 of these I need to trim a little bit off. I really do surprise myself. What freaking idiot. Right, so I've marked out all of these holes and all of these boards under here. Now it's time to mark out the holes that will attach these together. And to do that, I've made a little thing here that I used many a time, including to make the laser table back there. And basically what I do with that is I put that over the end of the wood, and that shows me where to drill the holes. I mark that just for something sharp, just to give the drill bit something to get it started, and then I put this on the end here like this and do the same thing, and that way I know that these holes line up with those holes, and happy days. The only thing I do have to be careful of is if I drill through this way, I need to put the screws coming from the exit hole, otherwise when I drill through it might go through slightly wonky and the holes on the other side won't be perfectly straight. So I make sure I drill through from that side so they come out here nice and lined up, and I line up with this. So I've got to mark out the holes in all of these and then drill them all, and then I can start screwing them together. Just thought I would do this bit of the Dr. Evil chair, and that is take my template things and lay them out on this piece of MDF, because these are going to be what the segments to the back cushion are going to be mounted on. I'll do them in segments so that way it gets the lines down them. Now I've drawn around all of these, so all that's left to do is to cut them out of a jigsaw. I have made sure I've marked them all so I know which ones are which, and that this is in fact the back side of the chair, because it might not be symmetrical, and if I get them all the way around it's a bit of a problem, especially if I spend hours sticking the leather stuff to them. So yeah, I've just got to cut these out, and I've now also marked all the holes for the transporter panels in all of these and in all of these. So I'm going to do some drilling and some sawing and some screwing. Got an idea, and that is to tape all of these together so I can just go drill, 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 rather than having to hold one with my hand and try and drill it one-handed. And 5 minutes later I've done all the holes on both sides. So before I screw these together, I'm probably going to cut these things out. Yeah boy, and there we go. That's all 8 of those panels done. I'll stack them up on top of each other just to see how straight they are, and they are not too bloody bad. So that's those done. I'm going to do one last thing today, and that is trace round the things I made onto the fake leather stuff. Well, I've laid out my fabric. Now before I draw around these, I need to actually make sure that I've cut these the right size, so I'm going to lay them on the back of the chair first. And that's not too bad. Any tiny little gaps will be disguised by the fact that these are having some foam put on the top and they're going to be wrapped in leather. Obviously the thickness of this will bring them out ever so slightly, but if that happens it doesn't matter, because I'm going to put some stuff on the sides and the top anyway. I'm hoping I've got enough to do that. If not, I'll have to get some more stuff or just pad it out with whatever. And my panels are all marked out, and I've added a border to them as well, so that accounts for the thickness of the upholstery foam. And there's even some left over at the bottom here that I'm hoping is going to be enough to cover the ugly edge on the top and on the side as well, but we will see. So that's it for today. Tomorrow when I get here I will cut these out and then put them to one side, because I'll be taking them home. There's no need to be making cushions in the workshop. I can do that at home in the living room of an evening. So once that's out the way, I will be continuing with these panels for the transporter. Now these have got to be hinged together in pairs, and the idea is to have 4 pairs that will stand up on their own because they'll have a slight bend to them and then be attached to a floor that I'm hopefully going to start making tomorrow. So I'll see you then.